we've got a number of you in here now.
Okay.
You consent to.
Good morning and welcome. My name's Kathy Ryder. I'm the Membership Services Liaison for the board. Oh, and I'm supposed to say my pronouns are she and hers. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation. It's so good to be back and on Zoom and on Facebook. So welcome everyone. We are a religious community who commit ourselves to diversity. We hope to nourish human differences, those of gender, race, age, ability, sexual orientation, political views, culture, class, and religious belief. Welcome to all who treasure freedom of conscience in the search for truth. We promise to do our best to provide you with a spirit. Sign up for our weekly email. Those in person can sign up on the yellow contact form or a visitor card. Those in Zoom or on Facebook will see a link in the chat. You can do this to get notified of updates and any are on there. We're so glad that you are joining us today. Come, let's worship together.
Hi, I'm the Reverend Julianne Lepp, and unfortunately, Danny Klaskis couldn't be with us this morning, but I'm going to share some information about our 50-50 Share the Plate. And each month, we give half of all non-pledged donations to a worthy cause. Our Social Responsibility Committee chooses a justice organization, And for the month of September, it is the Eau Claire Area School District Homeless Program. And it has identified 241 of their students which have experienced homelessness during the school year. This was a minor increase from the year before. And 241 is a significant amount of students to have their education at risk due to housing issues. And this program ensures that they receive services as defined by the McKinney-Vento Homeless Act. But beyond that, they also partner with our community to make sure students have everything needed to be outside of their school area. They provide all school supplies and cover any fees associated with activities they wish to be involved in, like band and things like that. And they ensure that they have most of their basic needs met, like hygiene and clothing, so they are ready to attend school. Thank you so much for supporting this 50/50 Share the Plate program. And I know I've been to their closet and seen all their school supplies and all the coats, and it's just extremely inspiring that we can make a difference in our community. Thank you.
Our opening words are by Martina Thompson. This morning in congregations large and small across the country and around the world, Unitarian Universalists are celebrating Ingathering. We hurriedly stop in our usual scramble to get out the door to fill a small bottle or jar with water from our tap, water that might symbolically represent the water we forgot to gather on our summer travels or non-travels. Does any actual water from lakes or streams ever make it to water communion? A rust-colored leaf floats on the surface of a pond, and under the surface of the water, there are stones and rocks. The surface of the water reflects the hand that dropped the leaf onto the water. Watershed moments are turning points. Those moments often recognized in retrospect, moments that permanently alter an understanding. This morning we come together to share insights gained on any travels, or perhaps to reflect on the everyday holiness of the water that flows in abundance from our garden hose. Please join me in a moment of silent reflection as we enter into our sacred time together.
Good morning, and welcome to the first chalice lighting in person in quite a while. I'm honored to do this, and we'll be celebrating the other element that we always do. Please join me in reading these words by Laura Horton Ludwig. Fire and water, ancient opposites, sun and ocean, the cradle of life, dancing flame and dancing river, we invoke them together today as we kindle our chalice flame.
Hi, I'm Amy Johnson, RE coordinator. I use she, her pronouns. And I would just like to direct everyone's attention to the back of the room. We have RE forms if you have not yet registered for RE. RE starts next Sunday, so you have to be registered to join. So make sure you do that. And we still have some backpack blessing buttons in the back too, so if you didn't get one of those, make sure you grab one. And then most importantly, I want to take a moment to recognize the teachers that have volunteered for RE this year. So if you are an RE teacher, please stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. And let's give a round of applause to the teachers that are at home standing up. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you so much for donating your time, especially right now during this wacky time. So thank you so much for volunteering, and I look forward to a really awesome RE this year.
I just want to second Amy Johnson's recognition of our RE volunteers. This year we've tried to imagine what everything can look like as we've listened to families to see what they need and want, and definitely evolved our understanding of how to serve everyone the best that we can. And this year we have Soul Matters for the 4K to first grade, Jedi Academy for 2nd to 5th grade. We're having an online class and also middle school and high school class. So we just are so grateful for everyone that is participating, and as we continue to come back together in our community in person. And for those of you online, all of our links to like registration forms and things like that are available on our Facebook page and on our website. So I'm the Reverend Julianne Lepp, and we are here. Woo! Yay! So exciting to be in this building. We have not celebrated on a Sunday for 18 months, and it is wonderful to be back together. And I just want to really thank especially our technology committee, Rob, Brian Nelson, Nate Otto, Kurt Erickson, Susan O'Brien, and Jerry O'Brien, and so many more who have made this possible with all of their hard work. Each year, as we gather in the fall, it is our custom to offer water as a symbol of our connection to one another. This morning, we invite you not one, but 4 different times, we have to do it extra special, to share the stories of your water. We want to share with one another what our water represents, what it symbolizes in our own lives. For those of you in the sanctuary today, if you didn't bring water, don't worry about it. We have a pitcher of water for you to pour water. And for those of you online, you can post in the chat your notes about the stories of your water. And first we'll share about the water that while some of us have abundance, others struggle with scarcity. And we're seeing this in the California areas where there's fires and those that struggle with access to water. Second, we will share water that symbolizes travel, movement, and change. Third, we will share water that reminds us of life's storms, our concerns, worries, frustrations, and losses. Finally, we will share the water that reminds us of the well springs of our lives, that within us that is deep and powerful. Please don't worry about which sharing is the right time. The great thing about symbols is that it's always open to many interpretations. Those online will invite you to share briefly about your water, and this will be read aloud in the service. And just a reminder while sharing, that we're going to try and avoid partisan comments. We're all very opinionated. But we want to try and make our gathering of the waters as welcoming as possible. We can save the partisan stuff for coffee hour, right? Please be mindful also of our multi-generational community, the youngest and all the different ages. Thank you for joining us for our annual Ingathering of the Waters.
The first part of our water communion is drought. All Water is One Water by Mel Hoover and Rose Eddington. Water unites us. All water is one water, shape-shifting as it goes on and on in its unending cycle. The stream we gather by unites us with all the waters of the world, for all of life depends on water. That's why this common, everyday element on which our very lives depend is sacred. In our thankfulness for water, let us remember to honor, cherish, and care for it, for our own lives, for all life touched by water, and for those who come after us. If you would like to share water representing an awareness of scarcity in our community or our lives, you may come forward and pour your water into the containers up front. You can come up to the microphone after that and share a few words about your water if you wish. When speaking into the microphone, everyone will remain masked. If you didn't bring water with you, you are welcome to pour water from the full pitcher as representative water. We invite those of you attending online to share in the chat, and that will be shared out loud.
I'm Sue Beetle-Sism. My pronouns are she, her. And the water I poured is to represent the scarcity of water we experienced and our neighbors to the south, farmers, early in the season, which affected crops, and to all those people who hauled buckets of water out to their fields because they didn't have irrigation systems.
I'm Nate Otto, he, him. This water represents the trouble that the Boundary Waters had this year, which is a very special place for my family, as well as the rains that finally came late this summer and helped stop the wildfires that have been popping up everywhere in it.
I'm sharing from online. From Ashley, water is life. From Anne, the water we, David and I, contribute is from the Columbia River in Oregon, representing the first trip taken after pandemic shutdowns to visit my son and his family.
I'm Julia Brown, and I'm just so grateful for all the water that we have around us with the rivers and the lakes, and we are so lucky to live in this area of abundance.
I have more to share from Anne, and we add water from our trip to Lake Okoboji. I'm probably not doing that right, Okoboji. Yep, in Iowa, where we spent a week with family.
The second part of our water communion is for the waters that carry us. These words are by Erica Barron. May you never thirst. May your body and your spirit always have what they need. When you are in need of refreshment or new life, may the waters be available to you. May you never know thirst unto death in your body or in your soul. May you never thirst. And may your body and your spirit always thirst enough to stay alive. May you know the dissatisfaction with things as they are that leads to work for justice. May you know the thirst for new knowledge that leads to the quest for truth. May you know the desire for deeper connection that creates new and stronger relationships. May you know the spiritual thirst that keeps the soul searching and gives the sweetness of new discovery to faithful followers of spiritual paths of all kinds. May you never thirst too deeply, but may your thirst never be entirely quenched. You may come forward or post in the chat those who wish to share the water that reminds you of the changes and transformations in your lives, your journeys, whether spiritual or physical. This has been such a challenging year for many of us. It has changed how we live, work, and play. These are waters of change or transformation.
My water symbolizes 5 rivers. The Mississippi River from the state that I came from, that I had to cross to come to Wisconsin. The St. Croix River, where I met one of my friends from Minnesota, which I hadn't seen for a year. And the 2 rivers here, the Chippewa and the Eau Claire.
That's Marcia Jacobs.
I'm Amy Johnson, and this is my son, Sam Johnson. And our water is from Lake Superior. We went up to Duluth at the late end part of the summer. We haven't taken any vacation since COVID hit, so it was just nice to do something a little bit more normal. And it rained the whole time we were there. And we kept our masks on, and we just enjoyed life and enjoyed a little slice of normalcy. So it was really nice.
That's my representative water. I didn't bring any. I'm Cynthia Hunt, and they're representing tears of joy and tears of sadness. Sorry. I had a lot of transitions, and have this summer people could grieve together, so there was a few different celebrations of life that were really difficult. And also as a counselor, I've had to deal with or help people grieve, and so I think about all of those people that come in and hold this, have this safe space in my office, and so I think about their tears as well. So.
My name is Cindy Butler. My water represents the water from the swimming pool that is the first time that I swam since breaking this leg so severely, 2017. When after swimming, I felt, my ankle felt stronger. It was wonderful to kick both my feet. And Charlie's nephew is a chiropractor, and he knew. He's a PT, physical therapist. And he was able to press 2 spots in my ankle, and the pain went away. And the mobility was there. So it's kind of like miracle water.
And that water in that swimming pool is from the village of South Lake Tahoe. And we didn't think about the fact that we needed to grab water from Lake Tahoe when we were there. I'd never been out there, but that's where the nephew had the family get together at a condo that they rent in South Lake Tahoe. So I'll throw a little water in for Tahoe. I'm her husband.
Good morning, all. I'm David Hirsch. My pronouns are he, him. I've been a person who's always thirsted, speaking of thirsting, for physical connections to the past and to specifically my or my family's past. Recently, Tim Hirsch, who's here today, took the family on a trip to Medford, where he grew up, on the Black River. So we'll pour some water representing the Black River, where we got to be in some of the places where all the stories that he's always told have happened. This is something we've been meaning to do for years, but it took Stephanie Hirsch, the great planner of the family, to make it actually happen. And so I'm very appreciative of that opportunity to get in touch with the past. So.
This is Krister again, he, him. The water represents, I guess, bodies of water that I really miss from my childhood and from overseas, and spending time with my family. I haven't seen them in more than 3 years now due to the pandemic and other things. So those waters kind of feel like they always carried me, and throughout the pandemic I didn't take any vacations, didn't travel anywhere. But end of August, I went to the Alma area near on the Mississippi and found that very relaxing. And I actually dared myself to go swimming for the first time this summer. So I went into the Mississippi in Alma, and it was very overgrown on the beach. I talked to a woman who was there. There was one woman playing with her dog in the water, and she said, yeah, they haven't done anything about the beach for 2 years. They just, because no one goes there. So there was a sense of freedom when I was floating in the water in the Mississippi, and it was the first for me to swim in the Mississippi. It was cleaner than I thought, and obviously I didn't float away downstream, so I'm still here to tell you about it. And I also felt very relaxed because it was on my way there, I had been stopped by the police for driving against a one-way street. So I was like, I really needed to let that go, and I really felt that I could let that go in the water. There were a lot of worries that just like transformed me into a calmer place.
Good morning. I'm Linda Mays and go by she, hers. And my represents the water of refreshment. And it represents the water that refreshment and encouragement and remembering is always available and never ending. And it represents the water from the hospitals this year. And just at the time when you are so parched and so tired, whether patients or families or the healthcare workers, water of life and encouragement and refreshment has come. And it is always available, and I have experienced so much water when we needed it and when we still need it. And I'm very, very grateful.
Again, I'm Allison Oliphant. My water represents, I suppose, water from the tap of our new home. We moved from the east side to the west side of Eau Claire over the summer, and it's been a really wonderful change for our family.
I'm going to share from our online attendees. Randy Dobchek says that she is virtually sharing water from the Indian Rocks Beach, the Gulf of Mexico. and Randy says that she is grateful for the life it sustains and the peace and mind space of riding the waves on a board. That sounds great. From Ashley, the Ojibwe people of Lake Superior is Gichi Gami, and Gichigumi, thank you for correcting that. Gichigumi, the great water or sea. The changing weather patterns can represent my own life. From Ralph Edwards is on our board. The water that I contribute is from Lake Monona in Madison, where I have been spending more time lately because my eldest daughter is pregnant, congratulations, and looking forward to being a grandfather again in the near future. That's wonderful. Let's see, I want to make sure that I got everybody here. And I wanted to share water from my household too. We got a chance to visit South Dakota for the first time, and we saw the beautiful lands and rivers, and it was just such a joy to see that space.
Now it is time to share water, symbolizing the storms in our lives, the concerns and sorrows, confusion and frustrations. Allow this vessel to be one of receiving and healing as it absorbs your storm. Again, you're welcome to say a word or two about the significance of your water in person or in the chat.
I'm Andy Swanson, he, him.
I'm Bob Nolan, he, him, his. We've shared this water today to mark the summer of transition in dogs for us, as our dog Casey died of cancer at the beginning of August, but we adopted a new dog, a puppy named Aiden, at the end of July. So it's been a summer of dog transition. And otherwise, we've done a lot of outdoor activity, a lot of walking along both the Eau Claire and Chippewa rivers here in Eau Claire, as well as me taking up running once again and doing a lot of that. And he's been doing a lot of home repair. So we haven't traveled during the whole pandemic anywhere further than Chippewa Falls or Altoona. But we're thankful to be where we're at.
And we chose this segment because of the slow decline, the painful watching the dog get sicker and sicker.
Yeah, he was declining for 4 months. All right.
On that trip out to Lake Tahoe, I had a first and last experience of river rafting in the Truckee. And I ended up out of the boat twice. Several discomfortable things happened. So I think it must have been a storm. Bye.
I pour that water for my aunt who passed a couple weeks ago. We had her funeral yesterday. There's been some contention between that side of the family and mine, but we were able to put it aside yesterday and come together and honor her life.
Wanted to share from Ruth Lovejoy. She says, my water is symbolically from the glaciers in Alaska, which I got to revisit this summer. Although still beautiful, they have definitely changed. I hope they survive the storm of climate change. Also wanted to share water from my family in South Carolina who are going through many changes. Thank you.
I'm Kat, she, her. This year's been crazy for us. I know everyone says that, but honestly, last year was easier and better for our family than this year, as weird as that is. It's been a beautiful storm, though. So our family this year, we've moved, which is awesome. We got this beautiful house. And then we decided that that wasn't enough change for us. We decided to become foster parents. So we went from having 2 girls to 4 girls in our house. So we got 2 new girls in the space of like a month and a half. And it has been this crazy, beautiful storm. Never could imagine the amount of love in our house. Never could imagine the amount of chaos. We had one particularly really rough week a few weeks ago, and we were having issues with like 3 of 4 of the girls. You know, there's never just one bump at a time. You've got that many girls in the house, and it's like everyone hits chaos at once. So I had like 4 days of not being able to let one of our girls out of my sight. Like I had to sleep in her room. Could not let her out of our sight for reasons. And I finally had a day where I went to work. I work 24-hour shifts, and I was so excited to go to work and just have some space from the house. And I went and I had the worst call I've ever had on the ambulance. And I just needed like out. I came home and I said to my husband, I'm like, can I leave? Can I please just leave? Do I have to come back? And he goes, sounds like you need to go camping, honey. I'll handle the kids for a couple days. So I went camping by myself. I just grabbed my hammock and I just left. And I went down at a campsite near the Mississippi River, and I was so excited to like go swimming, and which is weird because I'm not a huge swimming person, but as I was making the plans trying to figure out where to go swimming on this trip, I suddenly realized that it was also full moon. So I got to go out swimming in the cleansing water with the full moon, and it was a very, very healing experience for me, and it just kind of represented some of the storms we've been going through and then the healing, so.
The last part of our water communion is the water that sustains us. As we conclude our water communion, we invite you to share the water that reminds you of the well springs of your life, the water that sustains you when you are feeling empty. We invite forward water of hope and sustenance, to share the joys that give you hope, to share with this UUC family the love that is the spirit of this church.
We are Karen and Tim Hirsch. This water is from the powerful Lake Superior, where we take an annual journey to renew our spirits, see old friends, and be in that lake. It's cold, but still.
I'm Kathy Ryder, and this water represents Lake Michigan, where we gathered as a family to celebrate my nephew's wedding and my grandson's first birthday. It was such a joy, and to kind of be sustained after that long pandemic isolation was wonderful.
That water can serve two uses. We got it out of our rain barrel this morning, so it can kind of represent the scarcity of water and how happy we're able to use that water from our rain barrel to do our watering instead of having to use water from the tap. And it symbolically represents my wife and my enjoyment of camping, and haven't been able to get out as much this year as we normally like, but we did go to a new place this summer called Highland Ridge, and it's an Army Corps of Engineer campsite near Spring Valley, and we went swimming in the reservoir at O'Galley natural area, and it was just a wonderful place to swim, and it was the first time we'd swam in outdoor water in quite a long time, so it was very nice.
Good morning. I'm Fred Hobley. For nearly 2 hours, we rowed and rowed and rowed our boat gently up and down Lake Nancy just outside of Minong. And we did a lot of zigzagging, and it wasn't always gentle as we had to look out for the waves from much bigger boats.
Hi, I'm Colette, she, her. I was waiting for the right category to put the water in, and so I think sustenance is great because I was using the water to represent our anniversary trip to Superior and going to Gooseberry Falls. And our anniversary is important because these last 4 years have been so difficult for me, for our country, I think. So anyway, being that we are married, it was so nice to have someone to go through all of this these past years with someone, because I had spent so much of my life alone. So it's very nice to have a partner to go through all of this.
Hi, I'm Virginia Woolf, and this is my wife, Carol Schumacher. This water is from the motels of in Kansas City, Missouri, Pittsburgh, Kansas, Frisco, Texas, and St. Louis, Missouri, where we stayed with our grandsons as we visited our families. It gave us a chance, Carol and I, to connect with our roots, and it gave our grandsons a chance to make deeper connections.
Okay, I'm going to speak for Mark. I'm Sue again, she, her. This is Mark, he, him. Here, why don't you pour this? We are sharing waters that represent anyone you want. Our trip down the Mississippi, up and down the Mississippi, with some friends that have a boat. We too went to Alma to get there. Also, we went to Lake Chetek and Lake Altoona. We did sort of
close to home kind of travels. Did you want to say anything else, Mark?
And it was only an hour and a half away.
It's good, right?
And I didn't even complain one time in the car.
I much appreciated that.
I'm Greg Maurer, and this water represents Oakland, California, where I ran away from here. And I was gone for 5 months because they had a lower infection and death rate. So while it was wasn't the fun things that I did there because we didn't do much, but I spent a lot of time with my daughter and her husband and her kids, and it was really a lovely time. And I find it a contrast of how dry it is there and the ample water my gardens had. I didn't have to water. I watered once when I first planted my garden, and we got all the rain we needed, which I thought was just, I was glad I got that benefit anyway. And the other thing is the freedom that I got to go camping at the men's camp that I go to every year, but didn't last year, wasn't held. But you know, everybody there was vaccinated, so it made it a low risk. And it was just wonderful to have the support of my friends there.
I'm going to share from our folks online. From Kathy, I would add water from Cedar Lake near Brainerd, Minnesota, where our family has gathered for over 100 years. This year we were able to gather again, and we're joined by another family from Washington as my son married to their daughter. Barb Hobbins shares water from all the rivers, lakes, and the Pacific Ocean, where we saw on our 5,000-mile road trip out west to visit two sisters, Greg's cousin and a college friend, also from our family memorial in Iowa for Greg's mother and father, who died 10 days apart in January of 2020. From Ashley, we have water of healing and hope, water that is clean and not contaminated. Spring water from Washburn, Wisconsin ran on, aka spirit water. It sustains us. And each year we take all of this water that we bring from our various staycations and vacations, and we combine it into one water. Just as we are one congregation, our stories form together to make us who we are. We are one community made of many people, from many places, many ideas, but we come together in the spirit of love. And when we're done here, I'll take some of this water and I'll boil it. I always boil it. And we use it for our baby blessings each year. And so a piece of your love, a piece of your story is gathered into this sacred water. And so now we're going to do a blessing of the water. The water is sacred. It is made sacred by the many hands that have poured it with intention and with love. The many stories, both here and online, that each drop contains. the many lives surrounding it in this unique moment, connected by commitment and faith. The water is sacred. May it continue to flow through this community with shining reflections of the unique gifts that flow through each of its members. Can you say it with me? The water is sacred. The water is sacred. May it continue to nurture this community with sustaining hope that we journey together through ripples of growth and change. Can you say it with me? The water is sacred. May it continue to bless this community with loving reminders of our collective responsibility to one another and to the world. Blessed be and amen. Now is the time in our service where we give of our abundance and we help those in need. For those of you here in the sanctuary, we have something completely new, so I'm going to wave my hands to get your attention. In the back of the sanctuary, there is a box attached to the middle post there, and it is a donation box. We're not going to pass the plate anymore, so we don't get all close to one another. We'll have to do that in spirit instead of body. So you can, at the end of service, you're welcome to drop your donation in there. Or, per usual, you can text to give at 84321 or mail a check. And we also have this handy-dandy QR code. And what's a QR code, you ask? I will tell you. You can use your cell phone and scan that QR code, and it'll take you where to donate. So many ways to give. And if you didn't know, our 50-50 Share the Plate, like I said earlier, is the Eau Claire Area School District Homeless Program. And we're so thankful to be supporting that this month. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. And this morning we'll be hearing from Julia Brown.
Please join me in extinguishing the chalice by reading these words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Teach us the wisdom of water, that life will have its falls, sometimes like a mountain stream, tumbling over round stones, sometimes like threads of rain spun from the clouds, sometimes in breathtaking cascades.
Teach us the wisdom of water, that each fall is finite, each ends in contact with earth. May we remember that we in this community are as earth to each other. We cushion each other's falls, lessening the impact, supporting one another through hard times. We are the ground of a blessed community.
Teach us the wisdom of water, that we will rise again from each fall, sometimes like mist breathed from neighborhood trees, sometimes like a geyser shouting from the earth, sometimes as imperceptibly as evaporation from the sea. Blessed be and amen. And now we're going to end our recording now to Facebook. I'll wait for Kurt and Rob to let me know that that's